Copyright History and Music Publishing Revenue Streams Part 3. Now we're going to talk about the Copyright Term Extension Act of 1998, the CTEA. This is also known as the Sonny Bono CTEA because Sonny Bono, the artist and songwriter, was a member of Congress and helped push this through in the Congress. This increased the total term of all works under copyright protection as of January 1st, 1999 by 20 additional years. Remember, in the Copyright Act of 1976, it lasted for 50 years after the death of the composer. With an additional 20 years added onto it, it is now 70 years after the death of the composer. The goal of this was to align the United States with the European Union, and so any work that is published after December 31st, 1977 are protected for 70 years after the death of the composer, and if there are more than one composer, it's after the death of the last surviving composer. Next up is the Digital Performance Right in Sound Recordings Act of 1995, also known as the DPRA. The rights of owners of sound recordings, these are not songs, these are sound recordings, to perform them digitally. So now they're going to start earning income off the performance of those sound recordings. Non-subscription broadcasts are exempt, and non-interactive internet are going to pay a statutory license fee. Interactive internet services need to negotiate a fee with the copyright holder. Next up is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 1998. This was signed into law by President Clinton. It implements the World Intellectual Property Organization treaties of 1996, and that's the WIPO Copyright Treaty and the WIPO Performances and Phonograms Treaty. It criminalizes use of technology to bypass DRM, also known as digital rights management. That's a copy protection. And the ISPs, the Internet Service Providers, are exempt from direct and indirect liability. Now, work for hire is different than a copyright. Work for hire means the employer actually owns the copyright. You know, this relates to, for example, the Walt Disney Company, or it could be Activision video game company. They're hiring you on a work for hire basis to create something, and they own the copyright. So the term of copyright for a work for hire is 95 years from publication or 120 years from creation, whichever comes first. It could be created, but it may not be published. But then if it just sits around for a long time, eventually it'll hit that 120-year limit. All right, so we're going to look at copyright revenue streams. The largest one right now is performance income, and performance income comes from broadcasting, television, movies, video games, and it's actually movies in foreign theatrical. But if the movie is broadcast on a cable service, that is a performance. And then also live broadcasts. This could be from clubs and etc. Mechanical income is both physical and digital. That's for the reproduction of songs on recordings, mechanically reproducing song on recording. And synchronization. Synchronization is synchronizing music to visual images. And print. Print used to be the most important one, or the largest one, at the turn of the 20th century, because that's how popular music was distributed, through print music, which was in the department store and all these regular 5 and dime stores across the country. Everyone, the middle class home had upright pianos, and they would buy sheet music and perform it in their home. So first of all, performance royalties. This is for live performances. Could be like the Staples Center or the Forum or any club. It also includes non-interactive digital. It's very important to distinguish between interactive and non-interactive. So this is where you don't have the ability to control what you're hearing. That becomes a performance. Radio, terrestrial radio, and satellite, they pay income for that. And also any business that plays music. Could be your grocery store, could be your barber shop, could be any kind of department store, any place where live music is being performed or even recorded music is being performed, it is a public performance. And then venues like Staples, a Forum, clubs, etc. Television is a very lucrative part of the business, especially if there are TV shows that are syndicated for years and years and years. Think of Friends or the I Love Lucy show that are still being broadcast on some channels. And then theatrical. Performance income is not earned for performances of a movie in a theater in the United States, but it is a very big source of income outside of the United States in foreign governments, in foreign countries. And this information is tracked via cue sheets and also on digital sources such as TuneSat and Source Audio. And that's the end of part 3.